My name is Joy Elfke. I'm from Texas, and I have been in the Masters of Counseling program with an emphasis in children at risk for 3 years now. My internship this semester is Family Sexual Abuse Treatment. It's the FSAT. It's a part of Morrison Child and Family Services in Portland. My first internship was at a homeless shelter, and I work primarily with kids and youth. Finding this internship was a little bit of a process. FSAT is a site for counseling students, but it's not a current site. It wasn't a current site at the time, so I had to do a little bit more grunt work. But because this topic was important to me, and that's really what I wanted my internship to be, it was significant that I pursued the idea. Well, I guess the process mostly just included contacting people, a lot of contacting people and following up. I did a couple of interviews at FSAT. One was an individual one was a group with their team, and they accepted me and I started. I think it's worth it to research and fight for an internship that really fits where you're headed and your calling and your area of interest. It might be easier to settle for an internship that maybe isn't quite exactly what you're looking for but satisfies the requirements. And I think I felt a little bit of pressure to do that when I was looking at the FSAT internship because I wasn't sure I was going to get it. There weren't very many spots available. And it was a little unwise, but I also hadn't applied at multiple other places, kind of put all my eggs in one basket, and I'm not sure that was a good idea in the long run, but I still think it's worth fighting for an internship that fits the type of population you want to work with. You have about a year in school, and then they recommend that you go ahead and start your internships early because Western is very focused on that practical side of things, that getting you in and using the skills that they're teaching in class is really important to Western. But I was not feeling ready, even though I was getting a lot of feedback from faculty members or from my peers that, no, you're going to be fine, you'll be ready to do this, but I had a lot of fear. So when it came right down to it, it took me a long time to even get the nerve to apply, but I'm so glad I did because if I hadn't have stepped out that first time and taken a little bit of a risk, it would have changed drastically the way that my classes or my learning or my whole educational process has been here at Western. Because internship adds so much to the classes. The classroom comes alive when you're in internship. I came to Western, I came with a desire to learn and to get some skills to work with kids that have been affected by sexual abuse. And through the program and through my first internship, I think I got a good foundation of how to do therapy. And what I wanted my second internship to be was more focused in on the specific type of population that I want to work with long term. Internship is a mutual learning process. It's a process where, as an intern, I learn a lot about counseling while the client is growing and healing and learning as well. I expect from internship to be able to learn how to apply some of the techniques that I learned in my group therapy class, to continue to practice my play therapy and stand-tray therapy skills with individual clients mostly, and also just to be in a learning environment. I'm working with a supervisor on site as well as supervisors here at Western, and so I'm getting a lot of input and feedback into what I'm doing, and at first that can be a little scary, but I think in the long run it's so powerful and really adds a lot of insight into who I am and what kind of a counselor I am and in what ways I do therapy. One of the areas that is probably going to be a challenge for me is my ability to interact well and competently with parents. When it comes to child counseling, you have little choice but to work with parents because that's the primary environmental influence that a lot of kids have. And I really love working with kids. I really love doing child therapy, but I've struggled with some nervousness and anxiety about interacting with the parents. You know, some of my own issues, maybe thinking I'm not competent enough or seeing myself on level ground as a therapist and as a counselor. A lot of those things that especially if I hadn't been doing internship, I wouldn't feel as secure in. I'm really excited about working with clients again. I think that one of the things that makes therapy and makes counseling so satisfying and fun and rewarding is the fact that you're working with some really great people who are willing to take steps to look at themselves and people who are willing to take steps and be bold and courageous with some of their broken areas. I learn as much from my co-therapist as I do from a lot of the classes. You know, it's one thing to sit in a classroom and to hear a lot of principles and ideas and theories, and that's a great place to start, but especially with a profession like counseling, those things have got to be applied in real life circumstances and with real life people, and internship really makes that possible.